As far as we know, there have been 3 churches at Shobdon. Very little is known about the first church, except that there was one. It probably stood on the same site as the present church, and unusually was dedicated to St. Juliana, a female saint, and the church was linked to the nearby church of Amesbury. The second was built in the Romanesque period by Oliver de Merlemond, steward to Hugh Mortimer of Wigmore, around the mid-12th century. It consisted of a nave and a chancel, with a tower added in the mid-13th century. The third church, the one you see today, was consecrated around 1756 and commissioned by the Bateman family, in particular Richard Bateman, a close friend of Horace Walpole, who developed the style of Strawberry Hill Gothic. It is this unusual white interior with blue detailing that makes this small North Herefordshire church so unusual and so enchanting, and has led to it being a Grade 1 listed building of international importance. The tower and font are from the original Norman church. The chalice font dates from 1165, and was for a while used as a garden ornament in the court, before being recognised, restored and returned to its rightful place in the church. The highly ornate pulpit is a near exact copy of the York Minster design dated 1744. The sounding board is the most detailed feature in the whole church, with a central star with blue rays striking out from it. Surprisingly, the scrolls do not support the pulpit floor. However, despite its beauty, the ravages of time are becoming all too apparent. The current rector takes up the story.
Well, I'm Julie Reid and I'm a rector at Shobdon Church. I've been here for 7 years now, and just before I came there was a large piece of restoration work done on the main roof, and unfortunately we've discovered that hidden away underneath the plaster, the flat roofs of the transepts and the sanctuary have been rotting away. The wall plates have gone rotten, and now the side walls are beginning to fall out, and if we don't do something now, Shobdon Church will fall down. Well, Shobdon Church being so special, we've managed to secure quite a lot of funding, a large grant from English Heritage, for which we're most grateful, and also the World Monument Fund has given us quite a lot of money and secured some funding for us. And then more locally, the Hereford Historic Churches Trust have given us a grant, as have the Garfield Trust. We're very lucky to have the Shobdon Church Preservation Trust, because they're a group of local people who are working with the church to secure the fabric of the church for many years to come. And so they've certainly helped start us off on this journey, and will see us through for many years to come. There are also lots of local people who've been sending in individual donations, and we're grateful to the community at Shobdon for all their support. So although the church will be closing for the next few months, the work of the church will continue. The congregation, the church wardens and myself will all be available and able to help those who need help, support those in times of sadness, and to be with people when they're celebrating. So feel free to come and contact us, and we'll do the work of the church together.
The Shobdon Church Preservation Trust was formed by a group of mainly local people, with the objective of the preservation and upkeep of St John the Evangelist Parish Church, Shobdon, a Grade 1 listed building, and the education of the public in the history and architecture of the church. With a distinguished list of patrons and support from many organisations, their work has been invaluable in providing support, advice and raising money towards the current building programme. Sir Simon Jenkins spoke at the Trust's launch, and His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales visited and offered his support. Mrs. Kluge, who has a replica of Shobdon Church in her garden at her home in America, has also visited. Fundraising has varied from jumper sales and art exhibitions through to a Sotheby's dinner and auction, which was both highly enjoyable and profitable. The fourth weekend in June every year sees the annual Shobdon Festival. Organised by Churchwarden Terry Teal and his son Matt, it has grown into a large and exciting event featuring the best of local food and drink, demonstrations by top local chefs, as well as craft stalls, music and entertainment. Every third year the festival ties in with the Shobdon Church Flower Festival, involving the whole community, when the church is decked out with stunning arrangements. When the Batemans lived at Shobdon Court, the gates at the north side of the church were the access to a splendid house, sadly no longer there. The Bateman era began at Shobdon in 1705, when Sir James Bateman bought the Shobdon estate from his friend Sir Robert Chaplin, for the substantial sum of £30,428. The first major change he made was to replace the Jacobean house with a new Palladian-style mansion. It was demolished in 1933, although the imposing stable block still stands. While his descendants were creating the Strawberry Hill Gothic style we see today, they did have the foresight to erect the original Norman arches at the top of the hill, some half a mile away from the church, as a folly. Hundreds of years of weather have made the carvings a mere shadow of what they must once have been. Experts suggest that the carvings were superior to the ones at Kilpeck, another Herefordshire church, and were probably carried out by the same masons. We are fortunate in that some plaster casts, drawings and photographs have been made over the years, and we can only wonder at the marvel that it once was. In particular the two tympana, the Harrowing of Hell, and Christ in Majesty. The surrounds and supporting pillars show styles popular at the time in Aquitaine in France, and clever plaits and complex interlacing show strong Anglo-Saxon tendencies, while snaking dragons among a confusion of knots and strange foliage owe something to Scandinavia. So, as we wander around almost 1,000 years of history, we must ask ourselves, how much of this wonderful heritage are we leaving for future generations?